Mental health in hockey. We talk about it, but we don't really talk about it. The culture is changing where people are actually talking about their feelings, they're talking about things, they're talking about their hard times, but I feel like it stays on the surface. You know, people reach out to you saying, hey, if you need help, you know, I'm here for you, whatever. But if you actually went and talk to them, it would probably just be a surface conversation. Would you really get in the deep weeds and try and really figure out what's going on? That's what I want to touch on here, because I do think we have an epidemic, not only in hockey, in sports, but in just our society altogether. When it comes to mental health, a lot of people really aren't happy. A lot of people are lost. I relate to this because back in the day, honestly, I felt lost. I didn't know what I was doing. When I hit like hardships, it would completely destroy me. I'd be like bedridden for a couple days. It'd be really tough. Luckily now, like that gave me the tools to better be able to handle things now. But back then, it was a huge struggle and it wasn't talked about back then, unfortunately. It's getting better now, but I still think we're living at the surface here. And the reason why I want to make this video for you guys is because I want to share my experience. I want to share the tools that I've learned to better be able to deal with struggles, with the pain, with adversity and all that stuff, so you guys can use those tools here moving forward. So what's going on, guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is 𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗴 and I'm the founder and CEO of Advancement Hockey Advising. And today I do want to really dive into the weeds of mental health. It's going to be more or less structured and off the cuff. But honestly, I think it's such an important topic to talk about. If I try to structure this, it's just not gonna really sound authentic. And I wanna give you guys my authentic story and then the authentic tools that I've kind of learned throughout my time playing hockey and beyond. So I'll start with the story. So I said this story multiple times before, but I'll say this one and I'll say another one too, to really show you the darkest times that I went through in hockey. So the first one, I was playing my first year of junior hockey. It was in the NOJHL for the North Bay Trappers at the time. Started off there great, was like one of the go-to players, was getting a lot of ice time, had a great start to the season. I was playing D back then and getting some points, all that stuff. About 10 games in, 15 games in or whatever, I started kind of slowly dropping off. I stopped showing up to the gym. I stopped showing up to practice early. I stopped working on the little things. Started playing video games a little bit more. Next thing you know, like the coaches are like, hey, Brandon, you gotta step up your game, step up your game. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'm one of the best players here, whatever. And then next thing you know, I'm not getting played as much, starting getting scratched here and there. And in December, towards like December, January area, they released me. Honestly, they just said you're just not at the level that you were when you came and you're just not good enough anymore. And that was such a huge slap to the face. And the problem is at that time, I didn't have anywhere to go really. So the only spot I could really find at the last minute before the trade deadlines was to go play Junior B, finish out the year there, and then hope to find a Junior A team again the following year. And I have to say, those were like some of the top two moments. This was one of the darkest times of my life for sure. I had like no motivation to go play, to practice, to do anything. All I was doing was just playing video games. Really not a great way to cope, to be honest. I found my way out of it and I found a Junior A team the following year, but that was extremely, extremely tough. The second story here that I want to go over is I was at Trine University. It was my junior year. I played at Western New England University, NCAA D3, 2 years prior. Towards like the end, wasn't really seeing eye to eye with the coach and I thought it'd just be best to transfer, fresh perspective. Trine said, you know what, we like your game, we want you to come, you'll be like a leader on our team, all that stuff. It's like, great, it's a new program, it's a great spot to go there. Honestly, like really like crush it in tryouts in terms of like off ice, in terms of on ice, all that stuff. But there was two problems. So coach called me into the office, like I have two problems basically. One, your schedule, because I was doing biochem, so it was a very hectic schedule. He's like, your schedule sucks and you're gonna miss a lot of the practices. Number two, I just don't, like your type of play is not the type of play I'm looking for a top 6 player on our team. You'd be a bottom 6. And he's like, with those two factors in mind, I don't know if it makes sense for me to keep you on my team. I think you're better to go play 𝗟𝗂𝗏 D2. And when I heard those words, I was in shock because I thought I crushed it in the tryouts, you know? And I was in absolute shock. And a lot of my teammates were in shock too that this happened afterwards. And let me tell you that the month or so, like to swallow that pill, the probably like going from NCAA D3 to go play 𝗟𝗂𝗏 D2 was like incredibly difficult, honestly, and it still pains me to this day, to be honest. And that month, like I thought about like the thoughts of like dropping out of school, of like all of this, like definitely rushed through my mind. But I said, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's keep pushing through, like do the best that you can on the ice, finish your school, and then go on and do the other things that you want to do in your life, basically. So I finished and I'm so happy I did that because I really found myself in those 2 years, had a phenomenal time with a great team at that 𝗟𝗂𝗏 D2 level, had a great coach, and my personal development as a leader, as a person altogether was much better. So to wrap this all up, the reason why I'm telling these two stories is yes, they were tough. Yes, there were struggles and my mental health was like very, very difficult, honestly, but through that, there's a silver lining. As basically you go through these hard things, you find a way to have the mental tools, mental framework. You find yourself in ways that you wouldn't if you didn't go through those struggles. So if you're struggling right now mentally, okay, if you're going through hardships, whatever, just know that if you keep pushing through every single day, things will get better and you will become stronger from it, and you'll be better able to deal with the hard things that come down the line. So that's what I want to share with you. And addition to that, I do want to share some key tools that I learned here right now. All right, so the first principle that I learned through all of this, and that's going to help with any mental health, is that whatever scares you, whatever fears you have to face head on, okay? You have to have enough courage to push through those fears and to go through with it. So for example, if you're scared of getting hit in the corners, you have to go and force yourself in practice to get hit in the corners over and over and over and over again until you're able to do it. If you're scared to open up and talk to people about things, you have to find people you trust and slowly start to open up more and more and more, okay? No matter what your specific fear is, you have to find a way to look at it, to face it in the eye, and to push through it. If you don't do that, it's only gonna haunt you in the background. Fear festers in the darkness and it gets destroyed by the light, okay? So it's gonna haunt you in the background. Next thing you know, it's gonna eat away at you. So that's gonna be terrible for your mental health. Second high yield point that I learned here that's extremely important as well is to talk about how you feel about your mental health overall with people you trust. And again, with people you trust. It can't be whoever. I've gotten burned in the past where I talked about it with people and then they go and blabber it off to everybody else. But with people you trust, the big things that are bothering you, you have to talk about. And you can't just stay on the surface level, okay? Too many of us do this. You have to go down into the weeds, figure out why this problem is there, what's the core issue, and how you can kind of go about it, and what you have to do to face that issue and then push past it, okay? Ties back to the fear thing that we just talked about. But find people you trust. So whether that's your coach, your assistant coach, your advisor, your family members, trusted friends, and even sports psychologists, professionals, therapists, whatever it is, find that person or that group of people that you truly trust and talk about those deep things. I know it's uncomfortable. I know we don't want to do it, especially as guys. We have like our pride. We don't want to talk about these things, but only with talking about them do you actually face the issues, bring them out of the darkness into the light, and you push through them. So extremely important to do that. All right, now number 3 here is to talk back to your thoughts. A lot of people talk about self-talk and positive affirmations and all that stuff. I don't find that stuff to work all that well. The 2 biggest things that I do that really works is talking back to the thoughts in this way. So number 1, is this thought true? You know, whatever is circulating in my mind, whatever, doesn't mean because it's in my head, the thoughts that are going through, if it's true or not, you know? So I always ask, okay, is this true? Is this true? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's a hard truth that you have to face. If it's a hard truth, keep going through it. It's something you probably fear and you have to find a way, push through it and bring to the light like we talked about before. But a lot of the things aren't true and you can just kind of set it aside, right? So that's the biggest thing. And the second thing I ask myself is this thought actually helping me? You know, is it actually pushing me forward to my goals or pushing me backwards against my goals? If it's not true and it's not helping me, I'm not even gonna give it the time of day. If it's a hard truth, I try and frame it in a way that's actually gonna help me and I try and face it and push through it, okay? See that mindset there? Easier said than done. In dark times, it's easy to kind of spiral out of control. But by doing this, you do a quick pattern interrupt and you start thinking, okay, is this true? Is this helping me? Is this true? Is this actually helping me? If you keep doing this, you'll be better able to control your mind and it's gonna serve you very well moving forward. Fourth thing, super important, and it helps with point number 3 here, is to know your whys, okay? To know why you play hockey, to know why you enjoy the game, why it's even worth it to be alive. You know, I know these are big, deep questions, but to know this is truly important because in the dark times, okay, in the times where even these other tricks like talking to other people, questioning your thoughts are kind of falling apart, whatever, if your why is extremely solid, that's what really anchors you. And that's like, for me anyways, when I got cut by those teams or like went through other hard times in my personal life or whatever it is, going through hard times now, the why, my reason for living, my reason for playing the game, my reason for doing the things I do, that's what drags me out of the darkness and gives me like an edge like no other. Honestly, that's the biggest thing. So if you know your why you're alive, why you're playing the game, all this will serve you so much in all the dark times to come. All right, and number 5, my last point here, and of course it's gonna come from me because I'm in the health field, but it is to optimize your biology. And I know it has not as much to do with the other stuff that's a little bit more in the weeds and all that, but this, if you actually do this right, you're gonna be healthier, you're gonna feel better, and your brain's gonna be functioning better as a whole, so it's gonna be easier to have a good mental health, okay? So I'm not gonna go through these in depth, but just common sense stuff. So eat clean, you know, don't put trash in your body. If you eat clean, your cells are gonna be composed of the things that you eat, so you're gonna be composed of better materials overall. So really try to eat clean. Exercise, you guys have it down pat for the most part, but make sure on your days off, whatever you do, the right things that makes your body feel good. That's gonna be a huge thing. For athletes, sleep is extremely important. I know it's easy to stay up till 3 a.m., play some video games, but honestly, sleep is the biggest thing for you to recover, to feel good, for your brain to feel healthy overall. Another big one is getting exposure to light and just vitamin D altogether. Vitamin D3, if you're not getting enough light exposure, you have to supplement with this, because especially in athletes, it gets depleted very quickly because you put high demands on your body. Vitamin D, I'm a huge proponent of this. Definitely supplement with that at the right dose. 2 more things. So a big one, to socialize, have some fun. Obviously, you're focused, you're all in, you're obsessed about your craft and all that stuff, but don't forget to socialize. Have some good brotherhood, some good bonds with your friends, your teammates, all that stuff. Really important, okay? It keeps us happy and it keeps things worthwhile and worth living for. Again, focus all in on your craft, but to socialize really goes a long way. I think this last one goes without saying, but unfortunately, too many athletes do it, and that's just staying away from like drugs, nonsense, all that stuff, right? They all say this, and everybody says say no to drugs, but for athletes in particular, it can go down a really dark path really quick and completely like throw you off your game. Then you start getting cut, scratched, whatever it is. You can go down a really big nosedive real quick. So do yourself a favor, just stay away from it, stay clean, and by doing this and optimizing your biology is gonna make all the other things easier. So overall, I know this video was like off the cuff a little bit different than our typical videos, but I'm a big proponent of mental health, really trying to strive to be your best self every single day and going through the hard things. Not easy, I know, especially in a competitive world like hockey, much more difficult, but I think this topic is worth talking about. I think the more we talk about it, not on a surface level, but on a deep level, people will be better off as a result. So hopefully you guys like this different style video here. If you did, absolutely destroy that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Leave a comment down below if you resonate with the story. We'll catch you guys on that next one here.